I have the inventor of Ordinals and Runes, Casey Rodarmor, on this podcast. We talk about how Casey, even though Ordinals may be down, how Casey is going to improve and his new ideas for Ordinals. We also talk about things such as state sycophantism, Bitcoin going forward, how Casey likes to think about Bitcoin as a more application-focused developer. This is one of the more spicy and fun conversations I've had. Casey is a wonderful conversation. Bitcoin Season 2 is brought to you by Arch Network, the platform building bridgeless apps on Bitcoin. More on Arch later on the show. Let's kick it off. This conversation was recorded live at the Inscribing Conference at Bitcoin Vegas, a Bitcoin culture and arts conference. Shout out Inscribing. Go to inscribing.com or at Ord Events on X. You're the Ordinals and Runes guy, but are you tired of talking about Ordinals and Runes by now?
No, honestly, I'm very happy to talk about them. They're my babies. They're things I love about them. They're great. I still think they're fun. Every day I go to ordinals.com and I see what's kind of like been landing in blocks out of the mempool. Runes, I think, is interesting. I think everybody's sleeping on runes. It has this built-in 4-year hype cycle where, in 3 years, these like 1-letter legendary names are going to start dropping and people are going to realize like, oh shit, it's like like Runes has the halving too, except it's like the names.
Is it every 3 months or so?
Over the course of every 3 months, I believe the next shortest length of names starts to become available. So it started at like 12 characters and over the first 3 months, 11 character names, and then it'll be 10, 9, 8, 7, 3, 2, 1. And the final bloody battle over 3 months for the 26 1-character names. The Z rune. Who's going to get the Z rune, Charlie?
Don't you have like the 13 Z rune? The sleepiest rune?
Yeah, that unlocks for minting in 4 years, I always blame the lack of wild success of runes on the degens. I don't think that they're creative enough. I think I've given them a gift that requires some creativity to take advantage of with like clever names and clever memes. And they're just not good at it. We need
a new crop of degens.
Yeah. I mean, I also think there's a lot to be done with like Sats cards, for example, the Ordinal Sats card. Get like the runes on a Sats card, trade them around, treat runes like trading cards, it's annoying because for me, it's really annoying. There's all this obvious stuff that can be done from my point of view, like this low hanging fruit, like just do X, just do Y. It's so easy. But I'm like one dude and I can't do it all myself. And even when I tell people on Twitter, like, hey, you should do this, like they don't do it, And also everybody is so like short-sighted and like, trying to make money. And it's like, guys, you're just going to be losers and not make money. Just don't make money and be cool. That's much better than being a loser and not making money,
Being cool pays dividends, whereas being not cool and not making money doesn't pay dividends.
Yeah, isn't it all about the friends we make along the way?
That's really what I tell myself.
And so then, like, if you're cool and you have friends, you'll be pretty happy with things, even if your stupid shitcoin like just goes to zero.
So maybe let's entertain a little bit of Boltard comment. I rarely do price talk, but like,
oh yeah, okay, yeah,
we're at 110 fucking K.
Yeah, right. Now. Yeah.
And it's surreal, but also at the same time, like Bitcoin is starting to feel kind of foreign to me. Do you get this sense as well?
Not even a little bit.
How so?
Yeah, no, it's just, to me, it's all the same Bitcoin. It's always been number go up, number go down, adoption slowly happening. Like, yeah, no, it doesn't feel foreign to me. It literally feels like the same Bitcoin it's always been. And it's like, it's just more number go up. It's more people get adopted and things are kind of happening the way that I mostly would expect that they would happen. I've always thought that adoption would be very, very slow. Or maybe not always, I shouldn't say. Maybe when I first got into Bitcoin for like a year or two, I was like, oh yeah, adoption any day now. But then as you sort of start to think about it, adoption for use as money is really slow. Basically, if you want to use Bitcoin as an investment or a store of value, there just needs to be some people all around the world who are willing to buy it and sell it. And then when you want to buy or to sell it, you get on the internet, you get on some exchange, you get connected to those totally random people around the world that you buy and sell from. But if you want to use it as a money, like, listen, you have people that you like buying groceries from, that you like getting haircuts from. So it's not just you need anybody to use Bitcoin, it's you need those specific people to use Bitcoin. So in that way, I think it's just a much harder problem to solve for Bitcoin to become money. But yeah, and right now, some of the stuff which might feel foreign to people is adoption by nation states and Bitcoin starting to get sort of globally political, which I have been expecting like forever. I don't have any prediction on the outcome and exactly how it would go. You could see sort of rogue nations like Russia, China, North Korea. Yeah, adopting it because they want to like oppose the United States. You could see United States adopting it because they want to, get control of it, or they want to, like some like super five-head stuff, like they want to use it to back the dollar, or they know that these, authoritarian regimes are very heavily censorious of data and money. And so by making the rest of the world adopt Bitcoin, like China starts to have a lot of trouble controlling its economy if you can move money in like a global way, in a way that's recognized worldwide.
Well, I mean, that
over the internet.
If you want to call back history, like when China banned Bitcoin mining back in 2021, when they actually banned it.
Okay.
The precursor to that was they would like fake ban it. And but I understand that a lot of that was just really due to capital flight. Chinese were pulling their wealth out of China through Bitcoin as like that was the real reason, not the smoke and mirrors on Bitcoin mining.
Right.
So your point has been demonstrated historically, and I think it continues to this day. At the conference, we have a who's who of politicians.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
This time last year, and that's not surprising. Like we got a pro Bitcoin, pro crypto, whatever. Mm-hmm. He's a pro something president.
Yeah, he's pro something. when you figure out what it is, let me know.
I don't think he's anti Bitcoin. He's trying to figure out what he's for. So it's not surprising me that we have abundant political representation, but this time last year you had a kick-ass line.
What did I say?
You said on the main stage, quote, in response to Bitcoiners appearing to start to feel a bit sycophantic. You said, well, we're like, just the Bitcoiners are like, oh, well, like spit in my mouth, daddy.
Yeah.
It's a good line.
Thank you.
And it was like this time last year, I invite you to reflect on and peel apart this little thought which you interjected a year ago.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think, ultimately, I think politics is very stupid. Like this is just something that's come up over and over in my own life, and like navigating politics and navigating the internet and the internet is a space where people do politics. I actually think paying attention to politics is really stupid as an individual. I think it's a waste of time and energy because you can't actually affect it. Like the way that you vote doesn't matter unless you like stuff the ballot box and vote like 100,000 times. Your vote just literally does not matter. If you ask me, if you know that I voted, there's no way for you to tell how I voted, whether I voted for candidate A, candidate B, or I didn't vote. And that's the hallmark of something that didn't matter. If you can't tell the way that the world is after it happened, it doesn't matter. So this is the first thing that I want to tell people is politics is stupid and you should do more important things, and you should not like let it give you any headspace. Your headspace should be about your hobbies, your work, your friends, your family, all those things. And the less I pay attention to politics, the happier I am. Now, okay, fine. I'll get like political. Yeah. I mean, the state has a lot of power, and that power both corrupts the organs of the state as well as the people who come close to the state, right? Because it's really unappealing to work hard and make an honest living when you can just get cozy in the halls of power and try to get yourself close to the money printer, right? Or get close to the people who are making the laws and get laws made that that favor you. And so I think that, the state and the state's power corrupts individuals. And as Bitcoin gets bigger and bigger onto this sort of like global stage and of global importance, politicians, regulators, regulations start to take notice of Bitcoin, and that will corrupt existing Bitcoiners as viewing their easiest path to success as via the state. And the problem is a lot of them will convince themselves that they're like doing the right thing, but it also will make a lot of new Bitcoiners who were already sycophants of the state, normies who were sycophants of the state, or politicians will become Bitcoiners. And obviously they're like the most cucked of any of us. Like they're spending 100% of their time thinking about politics, which is 100% too much. So yeah, I mean, it's only going to get worse from here.
Let me tell you about one of the most slept on opportunities in crypto. Arch is building fast, composable DeFi apps on Bitcoin. Arch apps tap into the OG blockchain with by far the most liquidity and best brand in crypto. I've known the team for over a year. The tech they're building is solid and they are racing towards mainnet. There's DEXs like Saturn, meme coins on funkybit.fun, instant loans on Cha-Ching, and so much more. Plus, they're rewarding testnet users, so join me in trying out Arch while it's still early. Do you think we'll have more or less politics in Bitcoin in 10 years?
Probably more. I mean, I think a lot of Bitcoiners are a little bit over optimistic about this next phase that we're going into. Like, they sort of view Bitcoin as being this unstoppable thing, this unstoppable power. You know, nobody can stop it, nobody can censor the chain. But we're talking about like governments, right? And governments are really, really powerful. If for some reason US politicians started to really sour on Bitcoin and they got, you know, European governments like going with them, and even if they could get authoritarian governments with them, because you know, every government stands to lose by losing control of the money printer, right? I think we could see a kind of suppression of Bitcoin, like the war on drugs, right? Where, you know, the government can't totally eradicate drugs, but it can actually make it very unpleasant for the average person to use, you know, at great cost, at great extent.
Or they'll prescribe you their particular brand of drugs,
sure,
and create a whole new systemic issue.
Yeah. And also, I mean, we see stablecoins being incredibly... what do
you think about stablecoins?
I mean, I think stablecoins are good. I mean, like, good money is useful, and I don't like the dollar in a lot of ways, but the dollar is clearly better than a lot of other currencies, and it's not even close. I mean, you look at a lot of other currencies are just absolutely terrible. And so I am greatly in favor of people in, you know, underdeveloped countries being able to bypass their own shitty financial system and get access to the dollar, which is way, way better than their existing currencies. And I just understand the reality is that they don't want volatility. And okay, the dollar inflates at like, you know, 2 to 10% annually, like whatever it is, but their currency inflates at like 10 to 50% annually. You know what I mean? So it's good. And it expands like demand for dollars. It does mean that the dollar, I feel like the more expansion of dollars there are, the riskier the dollar becomes. Like, it becomes the larger the
for itself or just systemically.
It becomes, I worry about these like systemic problems. Like, for example, you know, there's all this external demand for dollars, and the United States is kind of just taking it as a given that they can keep printing money or printing treasuries to sate this demand abroad, right? And if all of a sudden that demand like dries up, you know, let's say that, you know, all of a sudden they're all like on the Lightning Network, you know, that, I mean, obviously it'd be great,
well,
but like
the Tether's going on the Lightning Network,
right?
Suppose, yeah.
But like if all of a sudden that demand went away, well, okay, if you're banking on $1 million of demand a year, that's not so bad. You just kind of absorb it. If you're banking on multiple tens of billions of dollars a year of external demand, all of a sudden your debt is like that you're relying on being able to service by, you know, being by fulfilling this demand goes away. It seems like it just becomes a much bigger and bigger systemic risk, basically. Let's
switch gears. I want to have kind of a hilariously meta conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about your podcast on my podcast.
Hell yeah. Yeah. The Hell Money podcast. Fine podcasts are sold. Hell.money is the domain.
They're sold in one fewer place than they used to be.
Oh, really?
Well, all right. You're not on Patreon again, are you?
No. Booted off of Patreon.
You got we got Patreon.
We did. Yeah. Too much. We shitcoin too close to the sun.
Yeah. Too much alpha.
Yeah. Too much alpha. That's right.
They had to, what's funny is I feel that 2023 and 24 were very much Hell Money Pod Season 2.
Mm-hmm.
But since then, you guys have finally been able to, you and Aaron have finally been able to extricate yourselves from talking about ordinals and runes all the time. And you've branched into what I would call more interesting esoteric topics.
Yeah, we're going down the esoteric wisdom route. I mean, Aaron is a spiritual lunatic, I would describe, but I find her beliefs very like fun and like charming and like fun to riff on. So like I don't have my normal like atheist, like Reddit atheist, like, well, like I don't even think there is a yoni chakra or whatever. So yeah, it's fun. And I've also been I'm working on a numerology for the sets, Chinese numerology. I
was hoping you'd bring this up, which is the wildest thing ever.
Yeah.
I don't even know what kind of questions to ask. Explain to the listener and to the Ordinals Legions who all tuned in at this very moment.
Yeah.
What's going on?
So, I mean, this actually was a thought that I had a long time ago, right in the earliest versions of Ord. I don't remember if I had this or some other SAT attribute, but I had other SAT attributes based on the number.
Beauty component. It was like aesthetic. You said like pleasing system.
I don't even remember.
Yeah, I don't remember.
But I did think of this a long time ago. I would sum up the number of 8s and subtract the number of 4s, and that would get you a Chinese numerology luck score, because 8s are generally lucky in Chinese culture. 4s are generally unlucky. But I started to do research on this. I was like, okay, I'm just going to figure out blah, 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 do this luck score. And what I found out is that Chinese numerology and fortune telling is incredibly complicated. Like, you don't get like this whole fucking giant fucking country like stewing on fortune telling for 6,000 years and like not get a bunch of really crazy, really complicated systems. So my original idea was do the simple luck score. I've actually pulled back from that because I want to make sure that what I do is objective. So instead of create this like subjective thing that, you know, Chinese people or masters of Chinese, like different kinds of numerology will be like, actually that's bullshit. I want to find the objective things and bring those to the surface so people can do their subjective interpretations. So one thing I'm going to do is, actually the thing I'm most interested in at the moment is sort of a SAT-based fortune telling, that you ask a question and you have to, it's going to be answered by a SAT in your possession, and you wait for the next block, and the next block provides the randomness. And from that, it uses probably the I Ching, which is a system of like hexagrams.
Which is where binary comes from or something?
I don't know if binary came from the I Ching exactly. They both use things that look like binary.
Yeah.
And then you get a series of hexagrams, and then you interpret those hexagrams according to the I Ching. So it gives you the objective part, the list of hexagrams, and then you interpret it. Another idea I'm thinking about doing is every block will have a permutation of the tarot deck.
Okay, I'm conceptually familiar.
Yeah, so that every block you'll get a new permutation of a tarot deck, and so that you can give yourself a reading. So you can think about what you want to ask, and then you get the deck, and then you can give the reading.
Is not like creating transactions or getting sats back, isn't that not kind of deterministic though?
So the randomness would be based on the block hash. The block.
Okay,
pair.
so it'd be block hash based. Okay.
Yeah. But it would be in combination using either no sat as a seed or a sat in your possession of the seed. And the idea is that the sat in your possession is a little bit more personalized.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you could ask maybe questions not related to you.
That's right. I mean, for that, you might want to use the pure block based fortune telling method. Yeah. I mean, my goal with this is, I think, actually like expanding the cultural sphere is very interesting. Like, people, if Bitcoin is going to be around for hundreds of years, which we all hope it will be, people will integrate it into their like spiritual and religious practices, spiritual, religious, and cultural practices, in the same way that they've integrated money into their spiritual, religious, and cultural practices.
Hell money.
Yeah, and hell money is this paper money that is burned in Chinese ancestor veneration to provide money to their spirits in the afterlife. And so people always want me to do like tech things. They're like, oh, Casey, like create some new protocol, or Casey, add some like degeneracy to...
I need to gamble more. Yeah, I still have money I need to give away.
Exactly. Or like, oh, add some feature to runes that like makes it more degenerate. Like, let us mint runes on demand, or weird bullshit. But I'm like, I don't know. I actually think that maybe I can do I can do some interesting work trying to expand Bitcoin in the cultural sphere. Like imagine if like every fucking like Astro ho out there was like dying to get a sat, like a semi-personal
how
sat.
many nodes we could spin up because of that.
Yeah. And they want it because they want to be able to do sat-based divination. You know, imagine if you get a sats card with some lucky sats on it and a red envelope for your... Yeah, I mean, these are like such powerful things, you know, and they don't require any technical design. I mean, a little bit of technical design. Really what they require is like research into different spiritual cultures, and then me trying to faithfully like create code that implements those things in a way. Like my goal is so that like an I Ching master can look at the way that the math derives the hexagrams to perform the sort of interpretation on and go like, yeah, that makes sense. You know what I mean?
It's really interesting because divination, like this might be oversimplification, but divination like implies you have some kind of external determinism that when you interact with it, it tells you something back to you. And Bitcoin has that interesting like external level determinism because if you want to get down to it, it's down to the electrons in the silicon that produce that nonce within the field and then the hash. And from that, we can derive all sorts of wild divination schemes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Hey, Will here with Blockspace Media. Did you know that we have individual feeds for all our shows? If you're watching the Mining Pod, Bitcoin Season 2, or the Court Show, be sure to check out the individual feeds. You can find them on your podcast player of choice, whether that be Spotify, Apple, YouTube, etc. Just type in Blockspace Media and you'll find all our shows pop up, or just type in the individual show name like the Mining Pod or Bitcoin Season 2. Be sure to hit that subscribe and give us a 5-star rating so we can continue to bring you the best content in Bitcoin.
Do you think you'll ever is this still just concept based? Do you think you'll ever ship something like this?
Oh, the divination stuff?
Yeah, actually
Oh yeah, no, I want to put it in Ord.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, literally the only problem is I don't know how much I want to clutter the SAT page. You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't think there's any reason not to add this. Or I can just add like, you know, some little show me the esoteric spirituality button, and then you see this bullshit, you know? But yeah, I don't see why not. And also, you know, of course, like there's already so much fluff. Like there's the SAT number, there's the decimal representation, there's the percentage representation.
The Teleburn address, which is now hidden behind...
I unhid it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I don't know if we put it back. I mean, my plan was to put
as
other
of
things
last
in there.
night, because I was
we haven't deployed the latest version of Ord, but we unhid that. We're like, whatever, just put it out there.
Put it on there. We need every little bit to get more people to burn in penance their Ethereum NFTs.
Absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, and also like I think there's no reason there shouldn't be this like fun stuff, you know. Yeah, like Tarot is interesting. There's probably other spiritual practices that could be involved. Yeah.
So I want to keep this brief, and so you can get back out to shaking babies and throwing baseballs.
That's right. Yeah.
Throwing babies and shaking baseballs.
That's right. Yeah.
General Bitcoin question. What is something interesting happening in Bitcoin that someone else is working on that you find really interesting?
Man, I don't know. I've been kind of checked out recently.
Which is okay.
Yeah, thank you. I don't know. Any ideas? Give me some.
Bro, I don't know. I don't want to. This is not about filters, but there's a little mini game happening in the filters debate, which is Chris Gita. Are you familiar? He's a Lightning developer. He loves filters, and he's put together a version of a config of Libre Relay, which is called Garbage Man, which pretends to be a Libre node and instead captures and does not relay your transaction. The idea being, it's a fun little game, which I think doesn't.
Yeah, it messes up the preferential peering that Libre Relay does to try to find other Libre.
There's
Relay
another
nodes.
guy. He's also at this conference, Stu, who has put together a counter Libre config, which peers like to a bunch of nodes and tries to snuff out which ones are the garbage man capture nodes. And there is a little goofy, it's an incredibly indie niche war that maybe 50 people are paying attention to, where they're just trying to identify each other's nodes.
That shit is so boring to me. I mean, like the ultimate issue is that, like, listen, people are paying miners to get certain kinds of non-standard transactions mined. And this makes those miners more profitable than other miners and reduces Bitcoin centralization. And how you feel about this, how you feel about the nature of those particular transactions is like super irrelevant. That's all that matters, right? And it's like, just start relaying them, like, give me a break, you know? And then also, you know, we haven't had the on-chain demand that we all want. So why shouldn't we pay the miners to secure the chain? Why shouldn't the degenerates pay the miners to secure the chain? Like, that's not a problem. That's good, right? Yeah. So yeah, like, I don't know. I mean, God bless their little hearts with their little game of cat and mouse.
Yeah, I don't want to dwell on Opportune. It's an exhausted, fraught subject now.
Yeah.
I like to say, please press out my JPEGs. I don't want to have to be putting JPEGs on Bitcoin as the base economic security for the rest of the time. I would like it to become more money-like.
Yeah, just use it as money, and then it'll price out the JPEGs, like, easy. Yeah,
that's like, really, it's that simple.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts? You're not on many podcasts.
Yeah, dude. I don't know. I mean, everybody should log off Twitter and touch grass. And all the cool people in this space, they have lives outside of this space.
Hell yeah.
And all the people in the space who are like the worst, they think the space is all there is. It fills up their entire day, their entire life. So just like chill out, go talk to some people, go take a walk, read a book, get into a hobby, you know, like that's my advice.
Read a book that's not about Bitcoin.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Casey Rodarmor, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, bro.